I have to go to live view here. Live chat. The stupidity of taking care of dogs is unmatched. As a matter of fact, one of them licked the little monitor here. There you go. Look at this. Isn't that a great view? Isn't that a wonderful view? For those that may be watching the stream later after this is live, your boy's been out here taking care of dogs for the past week. And where I love dogs, I hate pets. I detest pets. Why? Because you wake up, there's poop everywhere. Sometimes they like to vomit on things. And then you end up having to pick out little flecks of poop from the dog's butt. Why? Because they get dingleberries, which is quite an adventurous topic here. What a great way to start any sort of live stream, which is talking about dingleberries. Meanwhile, you know what? Let's just show the terrorist here. Let me have the terrorist here. Really? Yeah? This thing is also the bane of my existence. Just because for some odd reason this dog is fixated because of its medication on this particular ball. So that becomes another little disaster here. And it's a complete detriment to any sort of productivity taking care of the dog. Now, because these are apartment dogs, the other part that I find quite humorous is that from time to time, they'll just poop anywhere. They'll just poop. They just take poops. So then you end up waking up, you end up trying to get on a little walk, looking around, maybe taking a piss, and just poop. Now, luckily, they seem to keep to one part of the apartment. Come here. Come here. Give me that. Oh, okay. No, I can't even pick them up. They keep to one part of the apartment and just decide to use that as their public toilet. And this morning I wake up thinking, oh, everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be fine. Poop everywhere. There's little flecks of poop on the floor. There's vomit. Apparently somebody ate something that didn't agree with them internally. And this guy needs medication every 12 hours. So imagine having any sort of thing, any sort of activity, and you have to measure it around this guy. Milo, come here. Come here. Who doesn't listen to you, by the way. That's the other part. Milo, come here. Come. Ven para acá. No? You're just going to stay there. I'm going to put you in air jail. He likes air jail, despite it being a supposed punishment. You're awesome, man. I try. How's this camera lens? I put a camera lens on my phone. It's a wide angle. I thought it looked cool. Milo, ven para acá. Come here, Milo. Do I even have playing cards around me? Yes, I do. I do have the missing piece deck of playing cards. Look at how they look on this wide angle lens. I enjoy it. Somebody said they didn't like it in a comment the other day, but you know what I said? Fuck it. Fuck it. I enjoy the view. I like that I could be this close to the camera and you get pretty much my entire frame. Milo, come here. No. We're going to get you here. Look at this guy. Look at the bane of my existence for the past week. This little dude right here. This little dude right here. Imagine trying to get mad at this. Imagine trying to get upset at this right here. Despite him pooping everywhere. Despite him, what do you call this? Peeing. There's a mat. There's a designated piss mat. And the dog decides to pee either on the corner of the mat or entirely in a different direction, entirely in a different thing, on a corner of maybe the table, a corner of a cabinet, instead of the designated piss mat. And then you look at him, and how could you be upset? Look at those dick and balls too. You can't be upset at this little guy. And the other one's equally a terrorist. It's a girl, another Yorkshire Terrier, because apparently Yorkshire keeps following me. Despite me almost dying in Yorkshire, I can't get rid of it, with dogs and people included. So that's the other terrorist part. I've shown all of my friends the how to take care of your cards video. They can't stop laughing. That's not a good thing. That's not a good thing if you're showing people my videos. I want the exact opposite of that, which is that instead of you showing any magic related endeavor at any sort of party or any family member, you do the exact opposite. You talk about things that matter, like crypto, like Bitcoin going up to 105 or whatever the fuck. Now the other one's not going to come over here because she's sleeping. But this guy has been nothing but a poopy butthole for the past week. You don't know what it's like, and you don't know what life is until you've stuck your finger inside of a dog's butt in order to remove poop that's stuck. And especially when it's not even your dog. That's the other part. That's the worst. When it's not your dog, and you're just there clawing in there. Let me clean this right here. Again, they lick the lens. Cute thing. The dog as well. And now this is not a time for that. This is not the time to have homoerotic tendencies. Although it usually is with you. But I've been taking care of this guy for the past week as well as the other one. I was here with Mark Lemon. Mark Lemon visited Miami. Right now he's in beautiful Key West with his wife. We're working on some projects, which was a nice little thing for him. Not although we did come up with some good things on our own that we might be releasing, which is actually quite humorous if that ever comes out. But managing to shoot a project in the ghetto way that I do while taking care of this little terrorist has been quite the trip. It's been quite the endeavor. But luckily their parent is coming back later today, so I'm going to be relieved of dog taking care duties. Obviously because I'm a great person. I say, hey, I'll take care of your dogs. Nothing. I don't want any money. I don't want anything. I'm just doing it out of the kindness of my heart. Meanwhile, it's been nothing but this and poop. Yeah, Yorkshire Terriers are really loud, hungry and hungover. They're pretty aggressive. That's the other part. Anytime there's any sort of noise outside, any sort of movement in the hallway, this guy decides to be a tough guy and go and starts to bark aggressively loud. And as a matter of fact, if this ball right here is removed from his eyesight, he gets annoyed. Look at that. I think it's the medication. Mark said that it was the medication that keeps him hyperfixated on this particular ball, which I tend to believe because I feel like they're giving him the puppy equivalent of Adderall. Dog sitting. Thank God I was getting flamboyant vibes through the video. Flamboyant vibes. I don't know what you mean by their Satchel. Good to see you, Satchel, by the way. Good to see you. I see you on Facebook all the time posting a variety of things, usually very political, which I find hysterical, or something to do with some church dude, which I tend to agree with your views, which is quite funny. I smell poop. I smell poop. I don't like it. And the other one too is that the other dog gets too excited. So when the other dog meets somebody, it gets excited and just decides to pee, which is another fun thing. She just pees on the floor and just kind of crouches down when somebody comes in and visits, which is hysterical. Not hysterical to me because I've had to clean the couch cushions about 4 times since I've been in this particular place taking care of the dogs. But at least I get a nice scenic view, a nice beautiful scenic view of Edgewater, Florida, which 5 years ago used to be pretty hoodie, and now it's been taken over by the hipsters. So I guess to consider this a pig cast would be a detriment to the usual pig cast, the quality you get from there of me ranting and raving about things that bother me. But as far as this one, I'll consider it a pig cast light, a light pig cast. So as I mentioned before, I was working with Mark Lemon for the past week, which is kind of a funny thing because we came over to do some things with Mark Lemon's a genius. Mark Lemon, if you don't know him, he's a magician, mentalist. He's an absolute genius. When I first met him, he told me for a project that Peter Turner and him were shooting, I believe the Royal Road to Mentalism. He was the proprietor of the world famous sour minge, the sour minge tail, which I have to buy a pack of Starburst because the trick that Mark came up with involves Starburst, which, by the way, quick little rant here, that was on the Magic Cafe. Somebody had said on that, I read this thread, and somebody had said either PigCake is a stooge or he's the biggest idiot. Do I look like an idiot? The trick generally fooled me. I had no idea what Mark was doing as far as method-wise, and he fooled me completely with this Starburst trick. It was kind of an out-of-this-world sort of thing with Starburst, and they told me to walk into various convenience stores and ask for a pack of Starburst and a sour minge. Little did I know that sour minge is means dirty pussy. Means dirty pussy. I've told this tale many times before. And it took a couple times to realize, oh, he's asking me to go in these convenience stores and ask these poor girls if they have a sour minge, which was quite great. So that's my first interaction with Mark Lemon. And since that, I consider him a good friend. He's been nothing but great. He's invited me to his house, which last time I went, I was just taken aback by the facilities of the house, which he built and updated and modernized. So it's very impressive. That guy's an evil genius. If you're unaware of his stuff, he has a bunch of stuff out, and he's an absolute fucking genius when it comes to coming up with shortcuts for the iPhone. I hate to be a virgin. I really do. Even though my job and my profession is to be a professional virgin, I really do hate being a virgin. However, I have to be, because Mark has shown me nothing but amazing things over the years. Things that he doesn't publish, things that he doesn't release. Evil things that are so fucking clever that nobody's ever come up with. And he's the person that's come up with them, which is just so impressive because he could just put these things out. But he chooses not to for various reasons. But he's an absolute genius, and we were here for a week. I was showing him Miami. I was showing him all the Cuban spots. Luckily, he did enjoy most of the places I took him to. However, there were a couple that were pretty horrendous that we ended up going to. I miss you, Pigsta. I miss you too, Satchel, if that's a real name. Could you give me the fucking ball, man? See, this has been my life for the past week. The dog gets obsessed with the ball, and this doesn't just, he doesn't get tired. He doesn't get pooped. He does get pooped, literally, but he doesn't get tired. So I could throw this for the next 3 hours, and he's just gonna come back, give me the ball, and want it again. So I'm considering buying this thing from Amazon that he puts the ball in and he just shoots it in a random location. I'm considering getting that despite not being my dog. Because it doesn't matter. It's not the human element. He doesn't care that I'm a person and I'm interacting with him. All he cares about is the ball being thrown. Is this a normal thing? Is this dog autistic? Somebody let me know that's a dog owner, if this is a normal thing to have a dog so fixated on a ball where hours on end this little terrorist would allow a ball to be thrown and caught and returned and thrown and caught and returned. Is this a normal thing? Let me know if you're a potential dog owner. I'm also doing a really ghetto version of this where I'm using my laptop as a monitor, and then this right here because I'm using a back camera, which is why this is of of superior quality, because I'm using a back camera on this phone. But yeah, me and Mark were working on this thing that he's gonna come out with, and we've also come up with 2 really good projects that might be on the horizon. I've always wanted to work with Mark. Usually I end up working with Peter, which ends up usually involving me almost dying, getting slammed through a table, or being subject to an RV trip of 2 weeks of my life where I have to make the man tea while he's driving because I don't drive. I'm a passenger princess. So usually it involves a lot of work, whereas with Mark it's usually a lot more exciting. Peter tends to be very particular when it comes to his projects, which always ends up looking good. That's the problem. I bitch and moan and complain, but they end up looking good. And don't get me wrong, he also bitches, moans, and complains, but it ultimately ends up looking fantastic, which is what this next thing that we're working on is gonna look. We already finished the trailer, and it looks unbelievable. Dame la bola. Dame la bola. Oh, now you're being cute. Okay, give me the ball, Milo. Okay, fuck you then, fucker. Also, you came to California a while ago with Turner and probably drove through my ugly town. This close, you missed the story of how... I missed the story of how you almost died. Any update on the Jabrizi publicity stuff? Well, what I love is that I got real comments from people on my DMs. Give me the ball. I'm not gonna reach for the ball. You gotta give me the ball, motherfucker. Okay, I'm gonna reach for the ball. You got it. I don't want to hear you bark. Jabrizi is a legend. I'm a huge fan of Jabrizi. I've heard some things behind the scenes, and you know what? I've turned around. I used to be a Jabrizi hater. Now I'm a follower. I'm a devout follower of the Jabrizi method. I believe that what he's doing, he thinks is what do you call this? I believe that he believes in himself. And I used to be a hater, and I put out many videos making fun of his vernacular, making fun of his videos, making fun of his what do you call this? The way he talks. I got in trouble because I did mention in one video that he played a certain card. He played a certain card in one of his live streams where, you know, he ended up bringing up certain characteristics about his appearance that I said, of course he did. Of course he's using that card. But ultimately, I've become a fan now. I've become a fan. I'm actually on the Jabrizi train. However, this last little stunt that he pulled was quite funny. People thought it was real. Most people thought it was an absolute pack of shit. Just because, first of all, he did the classic thing of, oh, this isn't Jabrizi. This is his brother or his cousin or his mom on the phone. So somehow they got access to his phone and they're uploading videos and pictures and captions. And you see the doctor that looks like he's like in a porno with a clipboard posed with Jabrizi in the background with 20 pipes on him. And the picture that he posted of his car from the supposed car crash that he was in looked completely AI. It looked completely AI. Yet I got many DMs asking me, PigCake, is this real? Is Jabrizi really almost dead? No, clearly he's not almost dead. This is very obviously a stunt. And then he comes back and the doctors are telling him, oh no, I don't know how he came back. It's impossible. So I found it quite funny looking at that and thinking that people actually found it to be real, because it was very obviously a farce and a stunt. And I don't think even a good one. Because what's the end point? What's the whole thing? He's coming out with music? Is he coming out with a trick? So really it was just to fool the Facebook crowd, which has an average IQ of 14. So it did work. There were a lot of comments on the videos that I watched. Oh my God, RIP, my dude. I hope you pull through. But as I mentioned before, I'm not a big fan of Jabrizi. So I'm on the Jabrizi train. I used to be a hater, but now I see the vision. Hey PigCake, how's it going? You take your bike out yet? I added a crash bar to mine. That's a good choice. I haven't taken it in about 2 weeks because I am currently dog sitting for 2 absolute terrorists. Are you gonna come back up? So I've been dog sitting for 2 terrorists, so I haven't been allowed to drive my bike. The one thing I have been driving, however, is a Mustang Mach-E. That's what I've been driving around with Mark Lemon. A Mustang Mach-E, which is a very weird vehicle. I don't know if you're what do you call this? A person that enjoys electric vehicles, but I'm a fan. It's like you're driving an iPhone. So I've been driving that, even though I don't drive technically. I'm a terrible driver, but that car pretty much drives itself. When's the RV thing coming out? Depends. There's a lot more that we need to shoot. I don't want to go to England. Peter says that I need to go to England to finish it. I don't want to go for many reasons, including certain people that are there currently that I don't want to interact with. You know, I guess that's all I want to say about that. But at some point, I do think in order to finish that project, I need to make my merry way back to England. But the RV trip thing is a part of a bigger project. I don't know what Peter said on his live streams about it. I really can't say much, but it's a big one. So we'll see. But we went all over pretty much the entire, I would say, southern portion of the United States from LA through Orlando, stopping at places like Sedona. We went to, where else? Arizona. Well, Sedona's in Arizona. We went through Texas, NOLA. We went through Memphis and Nashville. So it was quite an endeavor. Of a trip. I suggested starting in Miami and going up around, going all the way up to Nashville and then coming back down. But Peter suggested, no, we have to go from the West Coast to the East Coast. Meanwhile, the trip from LA to NOLA was a complete wash. There wasn't much there. So we could have just started in Miami, gone to NOLA, gone up, and it would have saved us so much time and effort. But alas, I get convinced easily. Dame la bola, says Manel. Yeah, I realized my Cuban's coming out. He started a church, #rumor, or pound rumor, or asterisk rumor. I believe that. Jabrizi probably could get away with it with his devoted followers of low IQ. Makis are nice. Not sure why they get hate. Well, they get hate because it's an electric car. It's kind of overpriced. Charging it is really negligible. Like there's no difference between charging it and getting gas. It costs about $30 to charge it with one of the speed chargers, and you're kind of stuck. You're a slave to the charger, especially here in an apartment where there's no chargers provided. So you have to go somewhere far away, and what do you call this? Usually have to wait in line, and it's kind of a mess. I told her to get the person that I'm taking care of the dogs for a converter, but they're cheap. They're cheap. It's what happens when they're Colombian. Piggy, come to stay with me in the UK, Piggy. Well, if anything, I'm gonna go with Mark. Mark lives in the Cotswolds, and I mentioned before that I've been to his house, and it's like an evil layer. It's a beautiful house in the Cotswolds. It takes like 15 minutes down this road shouldn't be a road. It just shouldn't be. It's just one narrow little strip through the forest, and it's a two-way road, which is hysterical to me, but that's normal in England. But I might stay there just because I want to avoid the north of England. I've stayed in the north of England for way too long, and I think the south might be better. And despite Peter's wonderful hospitality, there's certain people around his neighborhood that I don't want to be a part of. I don't want to be a part of it. So that's what I want to avoid for the time being. Magic Orthodoxy says I'll be in Florida, Monday and Tuesday. What are you doing? I imagine you're in Orlando. I imagine you're probably checking out the new Nintendo stuff there, which I'm kind of jealous of because I do want to go there and partake in the nerdiness. But for me, Orlando has now become a once every 5-year endeavor. So I don't want to be one of those people that goes to Orlando and goes to all the the Disney stuff on a yearly basis. I think once every 2 years, strictly Disney World, okay? Punakala says, I asked you on your video, but here goes again. Are you a Trump supporter? Use a clip from a conservative propaganda channel at the beginning of your video. Well, to be fair, what I've done is that there's a account on TikTok that they do signs. So they're Chinese guys, and they do these signs, and they're quite funny. So the do is that the hook of their videos is that they will grab a, just a viral clip, and then react to it, and then start pitching their signs. So I've been ripping those off and starting the videos with that as a little dumb gag. And I guess the one that you're in reference to is a PragerU video, I think, which has its, certain things that people believe. But I really didn't look at that. What I looked at was the video on its own. As far as being a Trump supporter, I do tend to lean conservative when it comes to my political views, which rubs people the wrong way. I'm not strictly conservative. As a matter of fact, I hate most conservatives. I do hate most conservatives. They tend to be very stupid when it comes to their ways. But then again, I do hate a lot of liberals. So I'm kind of like, I'm there. I'm meandering. I'm existing. So I'm not necessarily a supporter of anyone in particular, but I do disagree with a lot of policies. I agree with some policies. But I know that it's black or white these days when it comes to supporting particular political endeavors, where it's black or white. There's no gray, which is kind of a shitty thing, but I think that benefits the government more because then the hate is amongst the people, whereas it's not directed towards the people you should hate, which is the people that are in charge of your taxes, essentially. So it becomes one of those. But, I've realized mentioning political things on the channel is not a good thing because it steers people the wrong way and it directs people to, having certain beliefs about me, and then it becomes just a detriment to the channel overall. So I might just be a little bit less inclined to talk about political things, especially on these live streams. But I guess I don't know if that answers your question. But if I did post that, it wasn't intentionally. It was just using that particular clip of whoever that was. Hate probably because it's not a Tesla. Well, that's the thing. There's Tesla chargers on every single block, pretty much. And they're up to 250 kilowatts an hour. So you plug that shit in, and within 15 minutes, your car's charged. Which, by the way, is not good for the longevity of the battery. And it's completely against any sort of, benefits of having an electric car, because now the battery life is going to be what, 2 years? So it's the equivalent of an iPhone, but it's a car. Cars traditionally would last you 10 years. On one, you get a car, and then for the next 5 to 10 years, you're good. But now with these batteries, you're charging it up. They recommend for you to charge it to 80, which whatever, but still, the speed of that can't be any good for it. So I guess the benefit is to have these cars being replaced every 1 to 2 years now. I love different concepts for magic videos. Instead of just a dude in a room, it reminds me of Jason England and Paul Wilson's Unreal Work 2, which was shot on a train ride. One of my favorite projects is our Paul Wilson and Lee Asher. That was called Hit the Road. And I thought it was such a wonderful take because they just went all around. They went to Alcatraz, which might be opening up, funnily enough. And then they also went to other places just around, and they shot all these different magic tricks in these interesting locations, which I always thought was great. But then I'm also of the other mind where, unfortunately, the majority of magicians, they're very fickle. They don't give a shit about the story. All they care about is trick, trick, trick. That's what they give a fuck about. So it doesn't matter if you're floral and nice when it comes to your presentation. At the end, they skip through the intro. They don't give a shit. Oh, I'm here. They don't care that you're in fucking St. Augustine in a weird park. They don't give a shit. What they care about is just give me the trick. Give me the trick. So you go through all this trouble, and really at the end of the day, what they care about are the tricks, which is kind of a shame because you want to do things differently. You want to do things that you're proud of and stand out. But then ultimately what people care about the most is just, what do you call this? The tricks, the stupidity of magic, which again is the least important thing. I always say, the better you are as a person, the better you become as a magician. The better you become as a magician, the worse you become as a person. Because you tend to forget all these things that are normal. And the worst thing that I've seen is when, you talk to a magician and then they get into performance mode and suddenly their voice gets deeper and the way they start talking is way different than how you were initially talking to them. And they say, please select the playing card of this deck of pasteboards. Great. Have you committed the selection to your mind? Please don't change your mind. Oh, like, and it just becomes, okay, great, now you become an actor. Whereas that's what I like about Greg Wilson, where he's always said that the best compliment he's gotten is that you don't know when the magic starts and the conversation ends, which is what you want. You want them to be one sort of simultaneous blob. You don't want it to be, oh, now I'm in performance mode. Now there's a very obvious change in my character and my persona because now I'm performing tricks. I've always said it reminds me of this episode that I've been dying to find of the show from the 90s called Blind Date, right? And it was one of these terrible shows. Oh, thank you for bringing my shoe. That's the other part. They just grab shoes and leave them all around the bed, the couch. Very nice to bring in the outside gunk on the place where I'm putting my head. But Blind Date had this wonderful episode where the guy was a magician. And he's on this date with this girl, and the topic comes up where he says, oh, I'm a magician. And she goes, oh, show me something. And he goes, all right, great. I have a dollar bill right here. And she goes, what are you doing? What's going on here? Why did you, you're in performance mode? And it was so embarrassing to see that because that's the majority of magicians. That's the majority of magicians. And I've been trying to find that episode for years now, and I haven't been able to look it up, which is a shame because I think that would be a great video. Let me go through here. Sorry, my bad. Strictly in Disney World. Will you be getting a new Tesla truck now that you work with the Big E? I don't know who the Big E is. I don't work with the Big E. I worked with the Big E, and then unfortunately there was a mail writing campaign that they didn't enjoy because of people and various jokes that I made. So, but I'm still great with the Big G and E and the Big Braddy. Braddy actually left a comment on one of my videos the other day. Brad Christian, and I found it to be like a father, like my long lost father actually coming back and communicating with me. So that was kind of a fun one. And he left actually several comments on several videos saying, oh, I missed this. Oh my goodness, I had no idea this video existed. So I found that to be quite an endeavor, considering that I used to be very, very devoted to illusionist. I could essentially perform that ninja routine, the one that he explains the past. I could perform it blind because of how much I practiced it in my youth. Let me go through here. I hate doing this because what even is this? I have to rub the comments on the front, and I can't see shit despite it being, okay, I assume that these are the, okay, all right, we'll go with that. Murray Sawchuk was on a blind date. He has it uploaded on his channel. Murray Sawchuk is another one of those kind of like cunts in magic. It's like such bathroom content whenever you see his things. And he's left a couple shitty comments on my videos, like sort of calling me kid and being sort of, what's the word where you're talking down? Ew, dude, look at yourself. Look at yourself with your terrible actors in your videos. It looks like a porno. So Murray, every time I see his face, it makes me want to punch a puppy. Magic Orthodoxy says, sorry, I thought I was your father. Well, I have many fathers. That's the thing. When you end up not having a father in real life, you latch on to certain people. So I'm sorry that you're one of them. It's like a Mormon. I'm now a Mormon. Let me see if I skipped any comments. I can't even see. I can't even see the shit. A great concept. What's this? I can't even see that, which is absolutely ridiculous. But as I mentioned before, Mark Lemon is an absolute genius. I think he came in for vacation, and it just so happened to coincide when I was dog sitting, which ended up being a deterrent because I had to come back every day at 7:30 to give this guy the medicine because he gets little seizures. The little dog that I was showing here, he gets little seizures if I don't give him medicine. So every 12 hours, he needs to get 2 very aggressive pills to manage those. So that becomes a little bit annoying when you're going to the beach and having to find locations to shoot. And one thing that I've realized, which is very annoying, is it's such a gutting task to go out in the street and ask people, hey, do you want to be on camera? We're doing a little project. Would you mind us showing you something? It's so gutting to get constant no's and constant things and then constant little, it's just, it's the worst because then you come up to somebody and sometimes they'll be like, no, I'm sorry, you know, we're on a hurry, we're on a time crunch. And I'm like, okay. And then sometimes they just go, no, thanks, no, thanks. And they kind of ignore you and dismiss you. I'm not going to ask you what's your body count. I'm not going to ask you, which is the other problem with these sort of influencers that go around asking these terrible questions, is that whenever you need to get work done, and mind you, I call magic work, which is again an oxymoron, but it's kind of a shame because those people kind of make what we're doing look bad because the assumption is that I'm going to go and embarrass them on camera, or they're going to be something that I'm going to do that I end up trying to get viral or whatnot. Really, I just want to show you a fucking magic trick. I just want to show you a magic trick. I want to move on, and that's it. So we were constantly getting no's and constantly getting, oh, I'm sorry's, and it's just, it's a mood breaker because you end up just, they're like, oh, I don't want to ask anybody else. I don't want to ask anybody else. But unfortunately, you do need streeters when it comes to these projects. People look forward to them. So we got some good ones. We've got some really good ones at the local bar. But trying to go out to the street is just so gutting. I don't know how anybody does it. Are you performing in this project too, or just camera work? For Mark, it's camera work. For Peter, it's camera work. But I do have some things that I'm sharing, some forces and whatnot that are pretty good with the topic. So that, and then I think with Mark, I do have 2 projects that are pending that we came up. We kind of storyboarded here, and those are going to be actually really fucking good, and that's going to be performing and doing all that. But for this particular project that I did with Mark, he wanted to shoot some streeters and shoot some trailers, and it was him performing. And Mark is just absolutely great when it comes to just coming up with clever things, and they're shortcut things, and they're things that involve, you know, borrowing a phone, and it's just the way he manages everything is so fucking clever. And I hate it because it makes me feel absolutely worthless every time I see an idea that he comes up with, and things that he just throws away. Ideas that I think are $1 million ideas that he just, no, I've been sitting on this for 10 years. I've been sitting on this for 15 years. And they're things that you've seen that are better than anything that anybody has ever come up with. His line of thinking is just unbelievable. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that when I first met him. I thought that he was just this boring magician. But he ends up being the funniest and probably one of the most clever people I've ever met in magic. And I've met pretty much everyone. Why the hell did you go with such a wide angle lens? Is it a Trump thing? That's funny. Well, this is a fisheye lens. Let me see if I take this out and show you the alternative. The alternative is it gonna fall? It's this. So you prefer this? Is this what you wanted, Satchel? Is this a better view for you? I don't think so. So I prefer keeping the fisheye look. and I bought this case that this fits with. I just like the look of a fisheye lens. It's different, and it's not necessarily so obnoxiously cinematic. So I much prefer something like this, which is quite nice. But this is just, it's like a knockoff Moment. If you're familiar with the brand Moment, it's a knockoff variation of that. And I thought they had a good deal on it on Amazon. So I said, fuck it. And I want to shoot more on my iPhone. I've realized this camera is pretty much better than most modern cameras. Better than this shit, what I use, which is a Canon RP. This thing on a 35. This looks cinematic, but when you think PigCake, do you really think cinematic? Do you really think, oh, Werner Herzog? No, you say PigCake's trash. PigCake is a little Havana garbage. So this is more conducive to that style. Canon wanker, yeah, I know. Who would win in a fight, Eric Jones or Penn Jillette? I would say Penn Jillette when he was bigger, but Eric Jones is, he's a brother. Brothers have strength, I know, because I used to have a coworker that we would wrestle, and he never worked out, but he lifted me by my ankle over his back once. And I'm like, how'd you do that? And he goes, black strength. I'm like, okay, all right, dude, thank you, good job. So I believe that Eric Jones currently would probably be able to defeat Penn Jillette. And Penn Jillette's old, too. Penn Jillette's old. Although keep in mind that they're magicians at the end of the day. We're all magicians. So unless you're taking some sort of jiu-jitsu or martial arts, you're just going to end up swinging at each other, looking like a high school fight. So if that's the case, I don't know. It's whoever can land the first punch. So it could be up in the air. But Penn's older. Taylor, I remember last time I saw him, he just looks emaciated. I imagine he had probably some major heart surgery not so long ago, but he just looks like he's aged so much in the past couple of years. But I keep hearing mixed reviews about the shows. I remember I was so excited when I first went to watch the Penn and Teller thing, and it just became like a mix and a mash of their best things over the years. So there wasn't any rhyme or reason throughout the show. It was just here's a trick, here's that, here's a trick, here's that. So it's kind of a weird one. But your audio spikes and then goes back to normal, very mild. Well, I am recording on the microphone of this thing, which is another annoying thing. I've also kind of become sort of a fan of these shitty TikTok mics that I got. It's kind of unbelievable. They're $5. You connect it to your phone, and there's no noise. It cuts off all the noise. Now, granted, that could be a bad thing. But I've been playing around with a lot of these for example, this thing is kind of interesting. This is a monitor for your phone, which is tremendous. You just fucking put this on, you could use the back camera, and it sticks to your phone. So I've been using that for little videos every once in a while. And again, I'm just kind of reducing my camera footprint. It's a deterrent when you have to set up the tripod and the camera, whereas I want to just put the camera and then just record and just do something. So that's kind of more productive in terms of coming out with stuff. If magic is about misdirection, is your upload schedule the greatest trick of all time? That's funny. That is true. I've been very lax, but I've also been working on a lot of shit behind the scenes, recording various things for people. Peter, Mark, there was another one that was kind of on the horizon. But, and then I'm putting less attention to the channel, which is kind of a shame. But then again, it's not reinforcing. I'm wondering, looking back, and the sort of content that I enjoy making on the channel the most is things that have nothing to do with magic, but are somewhat related, like psychic videos and whatnot are pretty fucking good. So those are the ones that I enjoy doing the most. And those have a slow trickle, which is what I've noticed. They tend to be slow catching up. Sorry, I'm coughing because I've gotten these recently. Is someone mad at me, bro? I've been really busy. Don't want to let anybody down, says Manel. No, there's no. Unfortunately, he's caught up with other things. So it's not really a thing about being mad at anyone, but there's a certain characters that are taking up his time. Do you think David Blaine ever watches your videos and cries because he knows he peaked too early? I don't think Blaine is aware of my existence. Although I've met pretty much everyone that he works with. I've met everybody that's like a consultant to Blaine, including Mark and Doug McKinsey and Daniel Garcia and they were somewhat, aware of my existence, but I don't think Blaine is, which is kind of a shame because I feel like we'd get along. I feel like a lot of magicians share my sense of humor. They just keep it, to a certain standard for the camera and their public appearance. But I feel like most of the magicians I've met tend to have the same humor that I do, even people that you might not think so have very similar humor and the sort of edginess. But unfortunately, because I'm an idiot, I put it on film for everyone to judge and look at, which is whatever. That was kind of the standard that I set from the very beginning of the channel. If I had to be a fake person, or if I had to sort of lie about jokes or hold things back, I wouldn't necessarily want to do this for as long as I have. I did enjoy your breakdown vids of classic performances you did a year ago. Yeah, those are fun. Those are cool. I did one recently with David Roth, sort of in that similar vein. And I know I got some sort of pushback on that, but to be fair, when I watched the episode, I do remember at the end, Penn saying, oh, we know how you did some stuff. We don't know how you did certain stuff, but you fooled us, which I don't know if that's the point, which is kind of the shame of the show, because they come in and they do an entire act, which may consist of up to, 20 effects, 20 different effects. So if you fool them on any one of those, are you fooled completely? If you manage to get 19 things that they know, but one thing they don't know, are they fooled? How does that work? But for David Roth's sake, I do understand it. He's a legend, but I think it's also a deterrent of the point of the show, and it is their show, whatever. But I'm just being a cynic here. And if the point of the show is to fool them, then if he's not fooled, or if they're not fooled, then why do you give them the trophy? I don't get that. Give them some sort of lifetime achievement award or something like that. But don't necessarily bring the show down and sort of question the credibility, even though they go through great lengths to sort of make it as objective as possible. They don't know the person coming up beforehand. The only people that I've seen the act are the producers that kind of give it the okay and see if it's a viable thing. I remember Sankey a couple years ago sort of played with the rules of the show by fake fooling them and then fooling them by using alternative methods, and it becomes that becomes the standard. Let me just show them 20 things. The trick that I have in mind that I would like to go on the show and perform is just one thing. It's one effect. You go in there, you do the effect, you establish the character, and then if it fools them, it fools them. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's one thing. It's not an entire act. It's not 20 different things. It's not a lead up. It's just one thing, which I think should be the show. I think it should be one trick. Go through here. Sorry. That's sick. Could you send me info about the screen? Well, these are available everywhere. This particular brand is called, I'll tell you right now, it's called iScreen, which is, again, it's Chinese shit, but they're very, very good. Yeah, iScreen. The reason I like this one is because it's no Bluetooth, so it connects with mirroring. It sort of mimics that of a monitor, and the battery lasts pretty much a very, very long time, and it's MagSafe. So you stick it to the back, and then you could actually see what's coming out what's on your screen. The only problem with this is that it's not a touchscreen, so you always still have to come on the screen and adjust it beforehand. But I think as a monitor, it's one of the best things I've ever gotten, especially for phone, because you don't have to stick it there. You could just put it anywhere, and you see what's on your screen, which is a great benefit if you're trying to record with your back camera, because the quality from the back camera is unmatched compared to the front one. The front one is AIDS. Let's see, this one, do you find performing sleight of hand harder in Florida humidity, or does it make DLs easier because the cards stick together? Well, Florida, as a whole, I would say South Florida, yeah, our humidity is disgusting. So cards end up lasting like 6 uses outside, and they end up warping. They end up getting this disgusting warp that you assume it's a crimp, but it's not. But I don't know. There's something about the air quality. It makes things easier. Like if you're trying to get doubles, right? If you're trying to get doubles, or if you're trying to do certain things, it just makes certain things easier. But then again, I've never really performed extensively, like in the desert, to compare. So I don't know if that's the complete opposite. But there's a stickiness that helps with like certain things, and like Erdnaces or whatever. It really does help with color changes and little things, because the cards tend to adhere to your palm. Now, luckily, I don't have hyperhidrosis, which is something that most magicians get, where not only are they shaking erratically when they perform, but also their palms get sticky, which is the worst thing. You shake somebody's hand and it's just wet. But it does help for adhesion with certain things. I know people have certain balms and things they use. If you're using balms on your hands, that's another level of virginity. That's another level of virginity, especially if the purpose is to perform better. Ugh. But somewhat, I guess. It's difficult outside because the cards tend to be on places that have humidity, and then they end up getting poofy, and then you end up having essentially a rough and smooth deck without the need for it or the want for it. But I don't know if it's what it's like performing in other places that might be a little bit drier. I might do more of those breakdowns of performances, just because there's such an endless repository of them, and it's such a one thing that I used to do when I was younger is I would just look up these videos and just kind of for hours on end just watch these performance videos of like Tommy Wonder and like Sawa, like the coin guy from Japan, and watch all these weird things that I would never perform in a million years, but just kind of give you inspiration to come up with other things. One thing that I've been doing now too is reading through the Apocalypse, like reading those old magazines from like the 70s and 60s and stuff, and trying to come up with variations of stuff that are a little bit more modernized, just because those things were, built in or created in a time period where, certain things were sort of new and novel, but seeing it with the perspective of somebody from 2025, I think it's very interesting to come up with variations, because there's so many things that could be simplified in older books. And I say older despite this being in the 80s. I always assumed the 80s was like 20 years ago. No, the 80s was not 20 years ago. It's almost 40 years ago at this point. Apocalypse from the Bible? Yes, similar. Apocalypse by if it's biblical and it's from the 80s, I assume it would be the Church of Latter-day Saints. Right? Is that the one where it's like John Smith, that he was around in like 1890 or whatever the fuck? So technically, it could have been within reason to think that there's a biblical text written in the past 100 years. Also recommend checking out David Shaw's Magic Castle Act. He shares your humor. Absolutely great show. I've been watching a lot of those recently too. I realized the more I watch, the less chance I get of vagina watching these Magic Castle acts, and watching the one that I watched the other day was John Gustafaro. Everything he does is absolutely great, very simple, very easy to perform, and yet very visual and impactful despite the lack of slides. It's what I've always liked about John Kerry and his stuff. Although I feel like John Kerry's living a better life than any of us. All he ever posts are hot girls in foreign countries, and him kind of like, hey, here's my current girl. Here's my other girl. And then him drinking beer and doing all this stuff just like in a weird exotic resort. So John Kerry's living the life, despite what some people might think of him and his appearance or whatnot. Did this break? No, okay. So I found that quite funny, following him on Facebook and just seeing the many adventures of John Kerry. I have a couple videos of him saying things on camera that are quite funny, and things you would never assume somebody that looks as clean cut as John Kerry would say, which is quite humorous. But what I liked about his stuff is that it's very, very simple, and it's very, the slights are minimal, but the sort of effect is present. And he's actually had a couple of videos that he's given me for the PigCake Magic Academy, So he's done a couple of those for me, which is great, because I remember reading his stuff sort of years and years ago. And now all the people that I've read and sort of studied their work have become friends, have become people that I know. I have their phone numbers. I remember I was looking through my notes from 2014, and I had something on Peter Turner's Jinxed. And now I text him every day. And now he texts me every day, because we're buddies, despite him almost killing me by throwing me on a glass table, which is great. The scar hasn't gotten any better, by the way. It hasn't gotten any better. Let me see if I could sort of, I don't know if I could fucking show it here. It's kind of hard to show with this very great PigCake thing, but you can see it there. And it goes on for a good length there. And I always love when people don't know the story, because they're very curious. Oh, what happened? I don't get it. What happened? And then I have to go through, I got slammed through a table and a shard of glass entered my body. And it's just fun reliving it over and over again. Fuck. Would you marry Gal Gadot or Scarlett Johansson? Well, what was it? Gal Gadot is unbelievable. She's my type. I think she's everyone's type. I love a good Jewy girl. Is that bad of me? I love a Jewy girl. It might just be my like Arab blood that somehow I'm attracted to like what is haram. But I love Jewy girls, like her nose. She's just such a like a little Bambi face. Oh my goodness. So her all day, every day, despite her terrible acting. What's the PigCake Turner origin story? Well, funnily enough, I was just talking to Mark about this. When they came down to shoot the How to Control Minds, the first How to Read Minds kit, I was texting Cody back and forth, Cody Nottingham, that used to work for Illusionist. And he said, hey, we're shooting this down with Peter Turner. We're in Miami. Do you want to come down and sort of help out? Yeah, of course. So then I walk into this pub, this Irish pub in the beach, and Peter's just there on his couch, sort of looking like the Godfather. And I'm like, he's so full of shit. He's so unbelievably full of shit. And there I met him, and we ended up, talking and texting. And of course, I sent him an idea, and he goes, oh yeah, I came up with this 35 years ago, which tends to be the case when you come up with an idea, or what Peter tells you, which is quite funny. And from then, we decided to become a little bit more friendly. Our conversations ended up turning more personal rather than magic related. As a matter of fact, most of our conversations are not magic related at all. They just end up being just normal conversations about things that are going on, in England and here and whatnot. So that's kind of funny. And eventually he invited me over to his house to help him shoot some stuff. And then we've been, doing stuff ever since. But it started in that magic shoot for Illusionist, and I remember I still had my mask on. And it's funny because the one thing I said is, I'll help you guys out in whatever way I can, but the one thing is that please don't show my face. I don't show my face yet, and I'd be very appreciative. And the first fucking video that they shot, well, the second video, I'm there recording with my little Osmo camera. So if you look at that project and you look at the performance of the book test, which is I think the first video that they put out on that thing, I'm there with my little camera. You could see my face, you could see the back of my head. So I'm like, oh, thank you guys, I appreciate it. But I remember I put on the mask and we're in a balcony in Miami Beach, and he was showing me this envelope that sort of fooled me because I thought it was a window and it ended up being a slit. And from then on, I guess the relationship nurtured to where he almost fucking killed me, which is great. Not the first time he almost kills me, by the way. But that's the origins of the PigCake Turner. And then eventually, the In a Pinch was a good project that we shot when we were in California, which was a quite fun one because we're developing a method, we're going to perform it, and, ended up being something that became a replacement for toxic-like things. And it's funny because I do get questions all the time. People send me messages, which I've never, because that was kind of the first sort of project I put out that was through somebody else. I would release little things by myself, but obviously that had a limited scope. And then the first big project that I came out with was the hotspot, which is great. And then now, there are things that are kind of in the motion to come out with other things with the PigCake name on it, which I'm kind of proud of because I never thought in a million years that even though my net profit on my Kickstarter was negative $400, and the hotspot was also a good one. That was a good seller. And then I never believed that I would have things out, that I'd be working with people and have products out. And it's kind of a fun thing because it's one of those things you don't realize until you're in it. Like a bromance. It's less like a bromance and more like an abusive relationship. It's more like an abusive relationship that I'm in there because of Stockholm Syndrome at this point. But Peter's honestly very giving. He's very with his time, with his thoughts, he's very sort of, what's it called? Philanthropic, for lack of a better term. So I've enjoyed that relationship for as long as it's been. And, he's someone that I consider to be a brother, despite me wanting to kill him. In the RV, I remember at some point looking, and I'm like, I had a knife. I'm like, if I just stab him, all my problems will go away. If I just stab him in the neck right now. But then I realized, no, you don't stab your brother. But, luckily we've been able to work on some things. What's the other one? The Dot? Well, I say that, but the Dot and the other project that we did, the One Ahead, I found it so fucking funny because those projects were me, essentially, and then they decided to add Peter Turner's name to it. Peter Turner had nothing to do with those projects. He gave one trick for one sort of idea for for, what do you call this, for one ahead. And then for the dot, he gave another idea, which is that sort of dual reality bit. And then that's it. The rest was all me. And yet they put his name on it, which was quite funny. But the open predictions was another one that was I was really happy with. And then especially the Out of This World one, because I've been obsessed with Out of This World forever, and trying to come up with different ways of doing it. You know, I'm always on the academy, not to shit it, but I always, whenever there's a sort of idea that comes to mind, and I mention that it's half sort of like, oh, this is just a concept, you could work on it. But I'm always thinking of different ways to improve it and sort of the best effect for it and the best way to convey the effect. And I think that Worlds Apart is the best that I could think of, because it's based on something which I like, which is your feelings. The cards are a reflection of the feelings, and the handling is nothing. The handling is nothing, essentially. It's self-working, you don't have to count anything. And I've enjoyed doing that over the years, just because, again, you could just worry about the, it's sort of that trick from the True Astonishments box. I believe it was called Dunn's Deal, that nobody liked. Nobody liked that one, just because you have to mix the cards. But I've gotten the best reactions of my life from doing that trick, where you're just turning over the cards one at a time, and they see, wait, they're red when I was thinking positively. They're mixed when I was thinking negatively. So I wanted to come up with a variation of that, where the cards are reflective of that, and when they're thinking positively, all the cards are red. Then they thought negatively, these cards are black, and then at the end it comes back to the cards being red to match their positive thinking, which I thought was a great sort of take on it, rather than deal this pile, here's red and here's black arbitrarily. So it becomes a reason as to why it's happening, and it's a nice version. Also, Peter's version, which is ridiculous, that he calls Judgment Day, which is absolutely ludicrous, because everything's predicted. Everything is predicted. The cards, the amount of cards, the discards, everything's predicted. So that he decided to give for that project, which was very nice. I think he put in an Attic Salt, which is his other book, but that one was a fun little bit, just because when he first performed it on me, I had no fucking idea. Because it is a long one. It is a longer version of the trick, which I'm not a huge fan of, but the outcome is so good. It's like Out of This Universe by Harry Lorraine, but he has this weird plot where he goes, oh, and if you deal 4 bridge hands, I never liked that aspect of it. So this one is a more practical variation of that. You do need 2 people, but if you haven't seen it, it's so good. You do have to juggle a little bit of math, but you know, once you play around with it, it's really not that bad. But I think it's absolutely great, because everything is predicted at the end. They're fucking. I don't know if I put it out. I might have put a performance video. Don't forget your books. Don't forget your books. I'm gonna print those. I'm gonna print them. I was talking to Mark, and he uses this company that's fairly straightforward when it comes to printing. So I might just print them and re-release them. I know I wanted to have a compendium, but I haven't finished the last book, which is Hams and Fantasies. But I might just decide to print them and have them, because people like printed books for some reason. I hate it. On my iPad, I have like 100 books, along with a copious amount of pornography. I don't have to carry books with me. I just have it. I just have them here. 007, fucking, you know, Harry Lorraine shit. I just have a bunch of fucking books here. Some I've gotten through nefarious means, I'm not gonna lie. But I like the idea of just being able to have them here at any point in time. And I just look, and I could just get them, as opposed to having a physical book. But people like physical books. They like boxes. They like kits. That's something that I'm realizing about magicians, which is completely opposite to the way I think. Because I'd rather have unlimited books on my fucking phone and somewhere that's easily accessible than a fucking printed book that now I have to bring with me. I have to carry it. I have to, oh, let me open this. I can't put it anywhere because it might get wet. Whereas I have 100 books there that I could just read at any point in time and pick up ideas from and think about stuff. So, but people like books. So I have to acquiesce as a person who's trying to make money in this industry. Fuck off. Is that, I don't know if there's much else that I wanted to discuss on this PigCast. I had a whole bunch of topics of videos that have been bothering me, especially with some things that are happening as of late. New merch coming. Well, I have new merch. The Make Magic Great Again hat is new merch. It's been new merch. It's one of my favorite things. Although what I've noticed is that whenever I wear this in public, people do a double look. People have a double take. So they go, oh, okay, make magic great again. And I've realized that a lot of people have this style of hat where they go make something great again. So it's kind of lame. I thought that I was the first one. And then I saw that Marty Gilbert had a Kickstarter for this hat, the same exact text, in 2016. In 2016. But I'm selling them because I could put on the hat. Do you get it? Do you get it? I wouldn't be that much of a prude if Monty Gilbert didn't talk shit about people that do tutorials on YouTube. But I could put on the hat and I could take it off. That's rude of me. I'm sorry. I apologize. But new merch is there. Merch is also another fun thing because I've realized throughout the years that magicians don't like merch. It's not like a YouTuber will they buy the merch. Magicians want things. They want little trinkets. They want gimmicks. They want things they could play around with. This is something Mark gave me recently. I don't know if he's ever put it out. It's called Chroma, I believe. He's gonna hand you a cease and desist order. Was that a? I don't know if that was a joke. I don't know if that was a joke, Hungry, but that's really good. Do you use Teespring? They've been screwing me and my customers. Really? I haven't had any bad experiences with them. It's just the shipping takes like a fucking year and a half to do it. But they've been at least good with my stuff. I think the problem is when it comes to their variety. So if you're doing like mugs and shit, that takes forever. Whereas if you're doing shirts, they just quickly print them out. Production value 911. Thank you, Daniel. Daniel's probably been busy playing Doom Dark Ages, which I haven't been able to play because I'm here stuck taking care of dogs. And the only computer that could run it is in my house, which I don't think could run it, to be fair. I don't think it could run it, but we'll try when I get access to the game. So I've been here stuck taking care of these terrorists, but only hopefully for the next 5 hours till their owner comes back, which I've been counting down the days. I've been counting down the days till these dogs get their owner back. Today I woke up with poop. I woke up with vomit. I woke up with pee in different areas. So that's been me. That's been me with my finger there on a dog's butt. It's like I was using baby wipes, and it was like I was wiping a brown marker because it wouldn't stop. And then I realized I had to lift the tail and sort of, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. And I'm gagging the entire time. I'm just there vomiting because I'm not a good guy with poop, especially picking up dog poop. I never understood the plastic bag thing. We deserve COVID, humans, because you put a plastic bag and the only thing separating you from the poop is a thin layer of plastic. What if there's a hole in there? What if somehow you stretched it out? And then I don't want to feel the consistency of it. Whenever I've taken dogs on a walk, I bring an entire roll of Bounty and I wrap like 30 or 40 sheets and I pick it up and I don't look at it and I scoop it as much as I can. I barely feel it and then I put that in the bag and I don't look. But you see these people all the time with their little doggy bags of shit. And they just, The owner, as a matter of fact, these dogs was telling me, I'll observe their poop from time to time and feel it just to see if it's healthy. What? If aliens come down, who do they think is going to be in charge? When we're there, going down for little Trevor. Oh, Trevor, you took a good poop today. With your little fucking plastic bag. One layer of separation between you and feces. I never understood that, but people do that as if it's normal. I will never get used to that. I will never ever get used to that. Bro, let for GTA 6. Yeah, especially with the scene of Miami. I'm tempted to show the balcony here, but also don't want to potentially dox this apartment, as all my living areas have been, exposed online in some capacity or whatnot. But it's based in Miami, GTA 6, and it's kind of funny because you recognize all the spots. You go, oh, look, South Beach. Oh, look, Coconut Grove. Oh, look, Brickell. Oh, look, downtown. And you could technically go to your house in Little Havana and find it in the game just because of how much time they put there. And also staring at the main character's butthole, which is pretty much a combination of every girl in Miami put together as one. That's the one thing we do have, that our females here are second to none. Although I did go to Nashville and I fell in love constantly with thick white girls. For some reason, I had no idea that white girls could have ass. And that's one thing that I realized going to Nashville. I fell in love immediately with Nashville. Again, the touristy parts. I assume that there are other dirtier parts and not so necessarily exciting parts of Nashville, but at least the places that we went to, A-okay. Meanwhile, Memphis, don't go to Memphis. Don't go to Memphis. That's my advice. Don't go to Memphis. Memphis is a shithole. If you want to go to Beale Street, it's 2 blocks. It's surrounded by hood. We tried to get gas. There was a bullet hole through the gas thing where you would pay. You go inside and there's like a 3-inch thick glass between the person working and you, which lets you think, oh, this place is prepared for things that happen probably on a daily basis. And I don't want to be around for it. I don't want to be around for it. So fuck off. But that might be the stream. I think that's good. A good hour and 5 minutes of PigCast Lite. I'll be back in the studio, literally, maybe this week. So I'll do a regular one. And I'm sure you'll have your regular upload schedule because I'm no longer tight on projects. I'm not going to England because of people. And I'm also wanting to do more. I want to do more. I want to be better. But apart from that, I guess let me see if I could find the main thing that kind of I end all these streams with. What is it? Speak pipe? Yeah, okay. So I guess I have to end with the most important part. Okay, I have to log in. Let's use my little password. All right, sign in. End with the usual way, which is
big fucking tits.
Big fucking tits. Big fucking tits. Now I have to do this awkwardly. I have to do this. How the fuck do I end this? Oh, there you go. You get to see my titty. Big fucking tits.